everybody, welcome to New Zealand Travel News. Today it is Thursday the 16th of June 2022 and I have a fantastic news for you. Yes, long are gone all the bad news relating to COVID-19. Today I am bringing just good news. New Zealand has decided to scrap its pre-departure testing requirement for all travelers coming in the country, and this is taking effect literally next week. Okay, so there is a lot to unpack in this news and I am absolutely stoked about it. So without further ado, let's get started with the first piece of this news. So the first thing that the press release states is that travelers to New Zealand will no longer need a COVID-19 pre-departure test from 11:59 p.m. on Monday the 20th of June. So basically on Tuesday the 21st of June, you are good to go. And this was an announcement made by the COVID-19 response minister, Dr. Ayesha Veral. So yes, the New Zealand government has already hinted quite a lot that they were planning on scrapping those pre-departure testing requirements, and they were looking at doing it on the 31st of July 2022 because this is when basically most travelers will be able to come to New Zealand, and this is when the wider border reopening is happening. However, due to positive development in COVID-19 in New Zealand, all cases are going down. Despite the fact that we are welcoming thousands and thousands of travelers into the country, the New Zealand government has decided to scrap those requirements earlier, and that's also make it official for anyone planning to come to New Zealand even post 31st of July 2022 that they will not need to go over all those pre-departure testing. A lot of people were deciding not to come to New Zealand until this requirement was scrapped because this test had to be done within only a few hours or 48 hours prior to your international flight to New Zealand, and that would mean that should you have tested positive, you will have had to cancel your entire trip to New Zealand at the last minute, and we wish that on nobody. So that is fantastic news. It's basically another step toward normality in travel coming to New Zealand. Now, the other thing that we need to look at is the PCR test once you are in the country. So the day 0, 1 and the day 5, 6 PCR test requirements are still in place. So people which are going to come in the country are going to be welcomed with a COVID-19 welcome pack, which will include those tests, and you will have to self-administer those tests and report any positive results to the New Zealand government. This is also a requirement that may be scrapped in the near future, let's say in the next 3, 4, 6 months, but at this stage it is still one of the requirements. This is to help the New Zealand government keep a check on the outbreak and knowing which are the main source of the outbreak as well. Now, there is also another news for people which are planning to transit through New Zealand. So starting on the same Monday, the 20th of June, so this is the same date for basically all those announcements, passengers which are going to be transiting through New Zealand will no longer need to be vaccinated or will be needing to be complete the New Zealand Traveller Declaration. Sorry about that. So yes, people transiting through New Zealand were basically subject to very similar requirements than people coming inside the country. So anyone that were just coming to, for example, Auckland Airport and making their way towards some of the South Pacific Islands, for instance, were still subject to pre-departure testing requirements, vaccination requirements, and all those kind of things. Now, all those vaccine requirements for people simply transiting through New Zealand have been scrapped. If you are still planning to travel to New Zealand to enter the country, you still have to go over all the vaccine requirements. However, if you're transiting through New Zealand, this has been scrapped as well. Alright, so what I thought I'd do to wrap up this video, because obviously it is fantastic news for people wanting to come to New Zealand, what I thought I'd do is go over the vaccination requirement. So you still need to be vaccinated for COVID-19 when coming to New Zealand, unless you are one of those 4 cases. There is only 4 cases in which you are able to travel to New Zealand without being vaccinated. So if you are a New Zealand citizen or a New Zealand resident, you don't need to be be vaccinated. If you are an Australian citizen living in New Zealand, you don't need to be vaccinated. If you are a New Zealand citizen or resident and you are transiting through New Zealand, you don't need to be vaccinated. And if you are part of the air crew of the airplane, then you don't need to be vaccinated. Anyone else will need to be vaccinated in order to come into New Zealand. And finally, let's go over the border opening. So the date for the full New Zealand border reopening is still slotted for Sunday the 31st of July 2022 at midnight. So basically from the 1st of August, pretty much everybody will be able to come into New Zealand, and even like all the visitors visas, the student visa, the work visa, all those kind of applications reopen with Immigration New Zealand. So basically the New Zealand border is fully reopening starting on the 1st of August. That is, you know, because nobody is going to arrive at 11:59 p.m. on Sunday the 31st of July, let's be honest. But on the 1st of August, the New Zealand border is reopening, and the pre-departure testing requirements have been scrapped for those planning a trip to New Zealand. So that is fantastic news. There is still obviously more work to do in order to get back to normality, but we are slowly making our way there, which is absolutely fantastic. So if you are planning a holiday to New Zealand, you may want to check out nzpocketguide.com. It's New Zealand's largest travel guide. It's written by my partner Laura and I, and it's full of tips for you to plan your trip to New Zealand. We have millions and millions of readers, so they can be wrong. There is really a lot for you there. We also run videos here on YouTube quite regularly, so you may want to consider subscribing and hitting the like button, which is a free way to say thank you for all our hard work. And if you have some questions of your own, if you need some help to plan your trip to New Zealand, you may want to join us during one of our live sessions. It's happening at 8 a.m. on Sunday New Zealand time every single week, and my partner Laura and I sit right here on this desk and take all your questions live in order to make sure that you plan the best trip possible to New Zealand. And this is all done thanks to the support of our fantastic Patreons on our Patreon page. There is a link in the description of this video. You'll be able to score yourself some epic perks if you were to want to join them, such as access to a Facebook group where you can have access to Laura and I pretty much all week long, and we hang out with you guys. There is also PDF travel guides with a lot of like hidden gems of New Zealand. We help you with your itinerary and much more. Anyway, that's gonna wrap it up for me right now. I'm gonna go celebrate with a bottle of LNP and biting inside into a feijoa or something like that. But damn, this is awesome. Finally, pre-departure testing requirement have been scrapped for travelers to New Zealand. Guys, have a wonderful day. Girls, have a wonderful day. It is a wonderful day. Bye bye.